Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. I am here at the Royal Botanical Gardens in Burlington, Ontario, Canada for the Fall Bonsai Show. So let's go inside and have a look. So admission to the show is free, but you have to pay to get into the Botanical Gardens. Here is the front desk, and people are busy folding folders for information on the club, so I'll put a link to the club in the description below. We are greeted at the entranceway here with one of Eldon Leese's Scots Pines. Eldon was a founding member of the Kitchener-Waterloo Bonsai Society, and this is one of his legacy trees, and it's just fantastic. Here is an overall look at the show. Get some beautiful natural light. So let's go downstairs and have a look. There's lots of information on bonsai throughout the show. Here's a jack pine, 21 years in training. Beautiful tree. Nice small needles, dense foliage. Yeah, really. In a crescent-shaped pot on a black stand. It looks really, really good. Here's a Natal plum, 26 years old. And you can see how old it is by the rough bark on the trunk there. Yeah, it's amazing. Nice small leaves, nicely structured. Here's a small, I think it's a juniper. Really twisty and fan-shaped branches on it. Fascinating. And here is a Japanese black pine. It's over 75 years old and it's been in training 35 years. So look at the trunk on this black pine. It's just amazing. Beautiful pot with it. Yeah, beautiful. Here is a gray birch, aged 25 years. A really twisty trunk on it. You can see the gray color on the trunk contrasting with the light tan color of the new branches. Nice small leaves. Here is a Kishu juniper. Age 40 plus years, in training 40 plus years. Here is a Nick Lenz larch. And it's in a spherical pot. Beautifully formed, an old tree. Deadwood on the trunk. There's inside the pot. There's a clay face in there. So this has been in training for 40 years and it was started by Nick Lenz. Amazing. Here is a Seiju elm in training for 30 years. Fantastic branch structure, an old trunk on it, flaky barks even on the roots. Yeah, an amazing tree. And here is a Schefflera, and I believe this is the regular leaf size one. So it looks fantastic. It's difficult to get these Scheffleras show ready, and this looks really, really good. Yeah, that's amazing. And the pot is interesting. It's a kind of a slanted style pot, which I've never seen before, and I like it. I think it's an interesting way to display the tree. So that's been in training for 2 years. And here is a Virginia creeper. An old ancient stump. flaky bark on it. Beautiful fall colors coming. And you can see some of the berries in there. There's some kind of purple berries. Yeah, sort of a cascade style. Amazing tree. And here is a Fujian tea in training 5 years. And it's in a Chinese style pot. You can see how the pot is long and narrow. And it's in the Chinese style with the kind of layers going to heaven. Yeah, very nice. Here is an Eastern white cedar, aged 34 years, in training for 10 years. Kind of a sort of a windblown style. Deadwood on the trunk. Nicely pruned foliage. And an old bark on it. Looks really good. And here is a mountain top with thujas growing out of it. Very cool. And here is an American larch forest planted on a slab, aged 10 years, in training 10 years. Nice landscape below the forest. Tall trees pruned in a conical kind of form. Looking nice. And here is a Japanese garden juniper, a cascade style, in a tall cascade pot. Age 7 years, in training 2 years. Very nice. And it's displayed with the corner of the pot facing the front. And here is a privet with kind of a deadwood trunk. The live vein going up to the canopy. Very, very small leaves on it. So it's in training 20 plus years. An amazing old tree. Here is a Hokkaido elm, Chinese elm. A kind of a mottled pot, which is really, really a nice pot. Old trunk on it. Very, very miniature leaves. Age 22 years, in training for 4. Here is an American larch forest, in training 20 years. And you can see there's wildlife underneath the trees. We've got a fox up on the hill. Some deer. And a grizzly. This is like National Geographic here. The world under the trees. Yeah, beautiful arrangement of trees. Very nice. And the owner said it's very popular with the children and people walking by. Here's a burning bush in training 30 years. Beautiful pot with it. Mossed up, old trunk. Looking nice. And here is a dwarf jade, or Portulacaria afra, aged 10 years, in training 5. It's getting a nice branch structure. A nice color soil underneath it. Very nice. And here is a Brazilian rain tree in training for 5 years. Beautiful canopy on it. Very nicely rounded. Mature trunk. And a beautiful root base. Yeah, very nice tree. Sure like the form of it. And here is a boxwood in training 15 years. Spectacular trunk and roots on it, and bark. Just amazing. And a nice canopy on top. Nice small leaves. And here is a Japanese maple forest in training 4 years. Very, very small leaves on this Japanese maple. And a nice landscape underneath. Very nice. And here is an azalea, age 17 and training 9 years. Quite spectacular, the trunk and the sweeping style of it. Very nice. Here is an American larch, age 70 plus years in training for 40 years. And it's a big tree. You can see my hand beside it here. Massive root base on it. And really nicely structured. You can tell it's been in training for a long, long time. Amazing tree. Here's another one of Nick Lenz's trees, an original tree by Nick Lenz, in training for 25 years. And this is the Demon's Demon. So you can see there's a ceramic demon sculpture there with horns, and the larch also has horns up here following the demon theme, so that's why it's called the Demon's Demon, and it's planted on a slab. Yeah, fantastic tree. And here is a Boston ivy in beautiful fall colors. Really spectacular, contrasting with the blue pot. Really, really nice. And it's getting some good age on the trunk and roots. Very nice. Here's an eastern white cedar, Thuja occidentalis, age 100 plus years, in training for 40. So an ancient tree, dead wood on the trunk that spirals up. You see the live veins split. Nice structure on top. Here's a Korean hornbeam in training 28 years. Beautiful tree. Very, very small leaves. And it's a root over rock composition. And it's in a beautiful pot. Just absolutely stunning. Here's an American larch, age 100 years plus, in training 15 years. So this has very, very rough bark on a larch. Look at that. It's just amazing. Dead wood. And a beautiful structure up top. Yeah, an amazing tree. And it's in a beautiful pot too. Old pot with a crackled finish. Yeah, just beautiful. And here is an eastern white cedar, age 75 plus years, in training for 35 years. And it's in a reddish colored pot that matches the bark. Beautiful root base on this tree. Just amazing. Dead wood on the trunk. And a nice branch structure. Here is a blue rug juniper. Small tree, beautiful pot it's in. Stand. Very twisty tree and nicely arranged foliage. It looks really good. And here is a kiwi vine. So there's hardy kiwis, and this is what they look like when they get ancient and old. So beautiful branches and a nice pot. Yeah, outstanding. And here is another Nick Lenz tree, Penelope, a North American larch, age 40 plus years, in training 29. So it's a root over statue planting. You can see how the roots have thickened up around the figurine. And it's planted on a slab, on a concrete stand. Yeah, an amazing tree. Just gets better and better every time I see this. here is a yew, age 40 years in training 20. And a very ancient looking trunk on it. Nice branches, deadwood tops on it.
5 years old when he got it.
And a gray oval pot. And here is a trident maple in training 30 years. Great looking foliage on it. Just amazing. And spectacular old trunk. And it looks like this was a root over rock originally. You can see some of the rock in there. And up top here you can see the rock sticking up. Yeah, an amazing tree and a beautiful pot. Spectacular. Nice trident maple. Here is an American larch in training 40 years. And this was also a Nick Lenz tree originally. And it's big. Look at the size of my hand compared to the trunk. It's a big, old, well-developed tree. Really nice to see.
It's perhaps one of the best trident maples. Is it?
It makes you believe in the future of bonsai in North America.
Oh yeah, or anything. Oh yeah. So the trunks.
Here's a North American larch, a slanting style. Beautiful tree. Deadwood on the trunk. Hollow deadwood. Quite spectacular. Old bark. And a beautiful structure to it. And the pot is like a multi-layer slab, which is really nice. Amazing. And here is a crab apple in training 15 years. And you can see the apples on the tree. Amazing, getting really old looking. And here is a Shohin display. So we've got a Shimpaku juniper up top, Eastern white cedar, beautyberry, Japanese maple, and a musk maple. So let's have a look at the trees. So here's the Shimpaku juniper. Beautiful. There's the size of it. Yeah, really spectacular tree. And here's the Eastern white cedar. Old ancient tree. Yeah, a lot of character. Really nice. And you can see a few cones on the branches there. And then we got the beautyberry over here in a yellow pot. And it's actually got some fruit on it, some purple fruit, which is pretty cool. That's an old tree too. Lots of character to it. And down below is the musk maple. Very small leaves. Ancient tree. Wow. And a very colorful pot, purple and blue. Wow. And then we've got a Japanese maple down here. A tall, tan-colored pot. Getting some nice fall colors on it.
Doing its best.
Yeah, a beautiful display. Well done. Here's a native Eastern white pine, age 40 plus years. So you can see how old it is by the bark on the trunk. It's just amazing. Twisty tree. Beautiful foliage. These aren't easy trees to make into bonsai, but this is a really spectacular display. Here's a Japanese maple, the bloodgood variety. And this is also a Nick Lenz tree, originally. Just beautiful. I like how open it is and how even the foliage is from top to bottom. It's just spectacular. And this is the one that always has a little surprise underneath the tree. And there it is. There's a mouse in there. And the owner said that Nick Lenz put that mouse in there the day he bought the tree. and it's stayed there ever since. Wonderful tree. And the pot is just amazing too. Look at the pot here. I'm not sure if it's a Nick Lenz pot, it probably is. But just spectacular coloring and shape and everything on it. Yeah. Here's a Japanese maple, and this tree has quite a story behind it. It was started before World War II, and when the owner returned after the war, this was the only one alive, and it's slowly becoming a beautiful bonsai. When I first saw this tree, it was 3 times the height it is now. So it's being worked on carefully and slowly to keep this ancient tree alive. And here is a boxwood in training 10 years. Boxwoods are slow growing trees, so it takes a lot of years to get a beautiful shaped boxwood, and it's coming along really, really nicely. And here is a Japanese larch, 8 years old and training 6 years. Coming along nice. Got some style to it, looking good. And here's a dwarf pomegranate. It's got a fruit on it. Check that out, cool. Some accent plants. Little thuja forest over here. Very cool. Little spruce growing over a rock. And a shimpaku juniper on a rock. Very, very nice. Here's a burning bush forest. Really, really cool. Check out those. That moss and undercover lichens, various plants. Looks really good, really miniature. There's some kind of succulents at the back there. And the burning bush have fruit on them. You can see the little kind of orange red berries here. Looks amazing. Quite a planting. Here's a trident maple, age 55 years. And in training, 55 years. So spectacular foliage on it. Very even throughout the tree. Massive, massive wide root base. Ancient bark on it. Yeah, just an amazing tree. Very large too. Here's a paper bark maple in training 7 years. Very, very cool flaky bark on the trunk. A beautiful cinnamon color. Pot that kind of matches the trunk color. Yeah, cool tree, a very cool species too. Here is an RAF Scots pine. Age 50 plus years, in training 45 years. Very spectacular. Really nicely shaped. It's outstanding. Amazing tree. Here is a Blowy juniper, Juniper chinensis, in training 35 years. And this looks like a raft planting, so you can see the roots coming from the parent tree grow out, and then all the other trunks in the forest are coming off this one root system. So really amazing. Beautiful shaped forest. And again, the moss work is just outstanding. Lichens, moss, accents, plants. It's just spectacular. Really gives a variety to the understory of the forest. And a beautiful shaped forest. Here's a Japanese maple in training for 35 years. Wow. Very, very impressive. There's a look at the root base of it. The trunk. Yeah, just amazing. Here's an Austrian pine in training 20 years. Getting very old. You can see the bark on the trunk. The good branch structure going. It's looking really, really good. Amazing. Here's a Japanese maple, an Arakawa, a rough bark Japanese maple. Beautiful colors on the leaves, just spectacular, just starting to get some fall colors. There's a look at the rough trunk you get on them, which really adds to the ancient character of the tree. Nice moss and pot and everything. Yeah, really, really nice. Here is a pitch pine in training 23 years. So you don't often see pitch pines as bonsai, so this is quite a treat and spectacular. And it looks like an ancient tree. Check out the trunk. So this is the species that just sends out shoots all over. You can see at the base it's always sprouting new shoots, and yeah, not an easy tree to grow as a bonsai, but you know, really spectacular. It's great to see native trees being used. Here's a false cypress. A very, very thick trunk false cypress with a spreading crown. Yeah, very, very nice tree. It reminds me of those trees you see in graveyards where they're ancient old trees. Yeah, really cool. Here is a Japanese maple, a Katsura maple. There's a look at the trunk. Ah, looking nice. Beautiful leaves. Yeah, these Katsuras have really nice leaves. They're very fancy. Awesome. And here is a smaller one. I think this is also a Katsura. Very dense branching too on them. Amazing. Here's another Shohin display. So up top we've got a Mugo pine. We've got a Fukian tea, Virginia creeper, parrot's beak, and a Brazilian rain tree. So let's have a look at these. So there's the Mugo pine in a crescent-shaped pot. Looking nice. The Fukian tea. Getting very old, the trunk. Nice branch structure. Over here is the Virginia creeper, which is a vine. And it's lost its leaves, just naked. That looks good in the blue pot. I bet it'll look good with the fall colors. Down here is a Melina or parrot's beak. Ah, it's getting to be old too. Look at the trunk on that. Yeah, looking good. And a Brazilian rain tree. Very small one, but really nice fine foliage and good branch structure. Yeah, so that's a very nice Shohin display. Here's a Blowy juniper, age 40 years, in training for 30 years. Quite a tree. A tall, ancient tree. Wow, amazing. Here's a dwarf Mugo pine in training 18 years. Very nice pot tree combination. A very simple, elegant tree. And here is a North American larch, age 30, in training 30 years. Looks very, very natural. Just looks like you could walk in there, stand under the larches. Yeah, that is cool. Here's a Ficus benjamina, 5 trunks. Old tree, kind of a flat top canopy on it. And you can tell this is an old one. Look at the color of it. the mature kind of quality of the roots and trunk. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There's under the canopy. Here's an American larch growing on a tall rock, age 25 years. That is one old looking larch. Really nice, a small tree and really well done. Spectacular on that rock. Looks like something from the Elora Gorge. Yeah, really cool. And here is a blue rug juniper, 2 trees. I think the original tree was a Nick Lenz tree, and then the owner added a second tree beside it in the same style. So these are normally, you know, grow along the ground, but this is in the upright style. This is a very famous tree. Some of the branches are turned into dead wood. It's very mature. And a beautiful planting. Kind of a wind-blown style. Wonderful. Here's a very tall North American larch, age 40 plus years, in training for 20 years. Nice structure. Old bark on it now.
Very nice.
Cascading branches. Here's an Austrian pine, age 45 years, in training for 35.
Some bushiness at the bottom, and it would have a big long thing sticking out.
Nicely displayed.
Cut off. And
Ancient
I've
trunk
had
on
that
it.
for 5 years.
And
then,
very nice branch placement.
It is. And then
Needle
I found
size,
this
everything's
pot.
looking really good on it.
I actually found it at
Great.
You like those Austrian pines, do you, Nigel?
I do. Who's that? That's
Hey,
Blue Jay
everyone.
Bonsai and Vince. Fancy meeting you guys here.
Yeah, at a bonsai show.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys.
We'd show up at a bonsai show.
Yeah. Here's a Stewardia. Beautiful tree. There's a look at the roots, trunk, nice cinnamon color. Kind of upright branch style, which looks very natural. And a beautiful pot with it too. Check out that pot, it's really nice. Yeah, an amazing tree. You don't often see them here in Canada, so it's nice to see one. Here's an eastern white cedar in training 15 years, so it must have been a collected tree because it's ancient looking. Kind of a windswept cascade style. Looks like it's growing on a mountaintop. Seen the odd avalanche. Yeah, really amazing. Here is one of the vendors at the show, and that's Mark from Tropical Expressions. And he's brought a wide variety of trees here. Some really good ones. So there's a miniature holly. Might have to get one of those. They're only $20. I shouldn't buy more trees, but it's hard to resist. Yeah, so he's got all kinds of really good species for bonsai here. They're just amazing. Brazilian rain trees, Fukian teas, everything, Sarissa. Wow, look at them all. Portulacaria afras, jades. I think there's black olive. Yeah, just an amazing amount of trees here. And then down here there's air plants, stands, figurines, buildings, pots, tools. Tropical Expressions has everything. At the other end of the room here is Chris Hendry, the bonsai guy. He's brought in all kinds of trees, some quite mature. Check out this Brazilian rain tree. Amazing. Yeah, so he has a wide variety of trees, some high quality pots over here. Yeah, he's got a good selection of pots.
Then get it and go ahead. Yeah. No, it's good. And it's
Hi, Chris. Here's a Japanese white pine in training 32 years. Lit up by the sun, looking nice. Wow, that's old bark on it. Here is an eastern white cedar planting, so a very interesting accent plant down here. Kind of matches the style of the pot up here, which is in a kind of a tile or something, or maybe a natural rock. Yeah, amazing. Some cool ideas for display here. Jay taking his pictures. Here is a Japanese maple. Getting a bit of fall color on it, but it's pretty green still. We've had good weather this fall. Good looking root base and trunk on the tree. Here is a potentilla. Very slender trunk, half of it's deadwood, and a beautiful fine canopy on it. A very elegant tree in a beautiful pot. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That was a look at the bonsai at the Royal Botanical Gardens in Burlington, Ontario, Canada. What a fantastic mix of famous bonsai and some of the club members' trees. There was a great mix of everything from old mature trees to younger ones in development. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.